Alright, guys, my name is Julian Marcello, and I'm going to be talking about my idea of Ramona Flowers versus the girls. Now, what's the whole point? Scott Pilgrim was a success with bringing home $10 million dollars in its opening weekend, eventually having a domestic gross of $31 million dollars, which actually isn't that great because it made half as much as the budget. But why not make a mini-series sequel anyways? In Ramona versus the Girls, Ramona must fight for Scott, who got kidnapped by his crazy ex-girlfriend Knives. Knives got together every ex of Scott's, and Ramona must battle all of them to get him back. I've created a logo for this miniseries. It's really not the best, but when the editing software is bought and casting is completed, a way better version will be created. Here we see Scott trapped at the top, and each square with a different girl represents each episode and fight Ramona, who is seen at the bottom ready to get her man's back, must face. Now let's talk about the time frame. Assuming all goes well, I would expect the miniseries to be completed in roughly a year and a half. The development and pitch process would take a maximum of 4 months, allowing scriptwriters and producers with more than enough time to sort everything out. Pre-production would take about 5 months, and actual production would take about 4.5 months, giving each episode 3 weeks to shoot. Since the miniseries will be using a lot of special effects and generated art rather than traditional art, which I will get to later, post-production will take roughly 7 months, and marketing will take 5 months, initially being introduced while the miniseries is in post-production for about a month or two. Now, speaking of marketing, I would, as mentioned earlier, I would let the marketing phase take about 7 months. One of the biggest questions is, would I rather create a graphic novel or a video game as a marketing resource? I would have a video game created. If it's the miniseries, much better since it's a video game themed show. Scott Pilgrim was already a graphic novel before it was a movie, so I believe that a video game would be better to assist with sales and marketing. I'm not exactly sure what the budget would be, but I know marketing would take the largest chunk of the budget. Putting the word out there is going to take a lot to have plenty of views. Pre-production would have the third largest chunk of the budget in order to secure filming locations, vital equipment, hiring necessary staff, funding props, and signing contracts. Post-production and pre-production are kind of interchangeable because they're both going to have a large chunk of the budget. Post-production might have around the same budget, maybe a little more or less, depending on how everything goes, but all of the special effects are going to cost a lot of money. Development needs a small chunk of the budget to sign any contracts or pay for copyrighted material. Then production needs the least due to the fact that everything is already set up in the previous phases. So the staffing requirements for my department, which is film, are going to be a cinematographer, art department, a sound producer, directors and producers, and people to edit the picture and sound. I need cinematographers to get amazing angles in the action scenes, and art department to recreate the sets the way I'm envisioning it in my head. Sound producers must add the fitting tracks along with sound effects to make it seem realistic. I'll need directors and producers to assist myself in recreating my vision and a very great post-production crew to make everything look A1. Now, who would I choose to produce and direct this miniseries? Well, I would be the producer so I can help the team produce my vision to execute it the way I think it will come out best, the way that I initially see everything in my head. Afterwards, the first director I chose is Stephen Chow. This miniseries is going to have a lot of fighting with a Mortal Kombat kind of theme feel. I like the way and style he directed the movie Kung Fu Hustle. I would also choose Edward Wright because of the way he directed Scott Pilgrim. So there will be that kind of OG feel that makes it resemble to the first movie. As mentioned earlier, I would like this miniseries to have a lot of action, which is like martial arts kind of fighting, not really shooting or any type of that stuff. So, when it comes to choreography, people will have to learn martial arts to be able to participate in the show. They must have some kind of training to make it look more realistic so it doesn't look like, oh yeah, I just punched him, so what now? The music style will be mainly a gaming dubstep by DJs such as Xylent and Dr. P. Xylent by Boss Wave is currently playing in the background, but I believe this will add to the video game kind of feel and intensity to the battle scenes. I would rather use computer-generated art in this mini-series due to the whole electronic and gaming mood. I attended it having art just like how it looked in Scott Pilgrim because it was one of the biggest aspects that made it unique. And that's about it. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.